rescuing this nice Mercedes from a not so nice detailer.
Hi, I'm Ivan.
I'm Nick.
This is DIY Detail. This Mercedes had a, let's say, questionable detail done to it before we got our hands on it, and we're trying to remedy that. We remedied the wash portion of it in the past video, and you can see our pre-inspection as well. It's down below in the description. Don't go now, stay here. But at the end of this one, if you haven't seen it before, you'll see that one. And had you been subscribed and hit that notification bell, you would have seen that other one before too. So just remember to subscribe.
Remember to subscribe. Remember that no matter what happens with this detail, it's not going to be exactly like something you encounter, but there might be nuggets of wisdom along the way. And that's what I promise we're delivering in this series.
Yeah.
We found a lot on this car. Maybe one of those 5 things that we found you'll be dealing with in the future, but that's why it's worth watching. In the decontamination process, in the wash process, in the final inspection process, we realized that we're gonna have to be more aggressive than we were, Ivan, especially with this compound residue, this white stuff around some of this plastic venting.
Right, well, this vent, it's actually not compound residue. This is, because you can see, this little hole here can hold liquid. And that liquid was caustic enough to damage this plastic. That's why we see the lines where the liquid was. That's what's damaged that. Now, the paint here, you'll notice, is cloudy. Right behind these vents, the paint is cloudy on both sides. The reason it's cloudy is, let's open the hood and we'll show you why this is cloudy. If you can open the hood, Nick.
Yep.
So there's that vent. But if we look on this engine, it is a greasy mess. It's not just, oh, how can I describe it? This is just like oil sitting on here. This gets hot, those fumes come out of here through these 2 vents and make their way onto the hood, actually damaging the paint. So you don't want to put a greasy, oily, solvent-based tire dressing on an engine. This is what happens. Not only do you make the engine look suspiciously shiny, something that it shouldn't be, but also you actually can damage the vent, or you can damage the paint when this escapes. VOCs are a real thing. This is a engine dressing with a lot of VOCs that damage that paint. Now, the other things we identified before, a lot of them we got rid of with the wash. One of them is a lot of the water spotting is gone. We don't have those big spots anymore, but there is some little bit of water spot etching here and there. A light polish will be enough to bring that back. We definitely need to polish here because this paint is almost burnt. It has a feeling to it that's really weird. On this wiper arm, obviously when they were polishing the hood, they damaged that. Our Restore and Protect will be able to fix that. Our Restore and Protect will be able to fix this, but we're gonna be polishing first. The Restore and Protect is actually the last thing we're going to do. The accumulation of polish residue around all the little parts here, that we've taken care of. That worked out great. There's no more white residue hanging out on all these corners here. So that's done a very good job for us. The emblems are looking much better. We may need to do just a little more work there.
Now I wonder, Ivan, we've talked about our strategy already.
Yeah.
And yellow waffle pad on the dual action seems to be the consensus. But
right.
I'm looking at edges into here, right, with the Mercedes emblem, where I really think the rotary with the jeweling pad, I could kind of tilt it in there and get there. Will we just kind of see what the yellow waffle does for us and adjust if necessary?
If we need to, I'm sure the yellow waffle will do a good job with that, so no need to worry. The paint, if we look, and this is very hard to see, but this paint has been polished to within a micron of its life. There's not a lot to do here. And the reason I can see that is just the texture that's in it. This has been heated up. You can see the texture in the paint. That's really a weird looking texture. It's not orange peel. This has been polished way, way too much. So we're going to be very light with our polishing on the trunk lid. This is the worst area I've seen on the car. Right here, the paint is actually cracked. That's not a scratch. That's actually a raised crack because the paint has cracked and lifted up.
Any idea why the paint lifts up like that?
It's a repaint.
Excessive heat, and this panel could have been repainted.
Okay, Ivan, I didn't work in a body shop like you did. I didn't have a body shop. So for me, when I see things that are different, I don't really know what they are.
Right.
But this looks like I'm looking at a topographical map of like the desert floor.
Yeah, this trunk lid is very, very bad. It's a, let's say a poor repaint at best. So we have a lot of things going on here. In trying to solve their poor repaint, they polished it very heavily.
Yeah.
Probably a very heavy cutting compound with a lot of weight on the polisher, a lot of heat created, and that heat created has done substantial damage to this trunk lid.
We're gonna get to work. I know I like to yap, but I think it's worth noting that for you out there, you may not know what happened to the vehicle before it got to you. It may not be your vehicle. There could be so many variables, Ivan.
Yeah.
So this is just a reason among so many others we've given to polish in a non-aggressive way.
Exactly. We're trying to improve, enhance. We're not trying to correct or perfect. We have in our pad washer, let me get it primed up here, rinseless wash, 256-1. We always start with that. Get our pad nice and damp. Making sure that it's clean, spun out, and only one spray of the gold standard polish on the pad. You don't need more than that. Before you start polishing, Nick, how's the chemical etching on the other side?
You know, Ivan, when we washed this,
Right.
it looked like the chemical etching was gone.
Yeah.
And then I realized it looked like it was still there. I could still see the drips on the wet paint as we were drawing.
Yeah.
But now that it's fully dry, they're all gone. Like, it's a ghosting of some sort. What's happening there?
So the chemical etching was there. What we did is we removed the chemical that was in that etching, sort of like a water spot. So now we just have what's left on the paint. And when you're drying it, it shows the texture of the paint. Now that it's dry, we don't have that texture anymore. We just have the gloss. So a light polish is going to take care of that for us.
Awesome.
Since I have rinseless wash in my pad washing bucket, I'm just going to dampen the towel with it and use that to wipe off the excess polish residue to see what we're doing. We know we're confident that we're going to get the job done, but a test spot is always a good thing to do. So rinse and dampen towel followed by a nice plush towel. Very appropriately named the standard buffing towel because we're buffing right now. Much more clarity in the paint. Brought some gloss back and got rid of that nasty streaking from the chemicals here.
Nicely done, Ivan.
So next, we just have to polish the rest of the car. wipe off as I go, whereas Nick likes to wipe off when he's done. Neither one is right, neither one is wrong. The result in the end is the same.
I like to wipe off early if I'm doing a test spot, if I'm seeing exactly, what I need to know on the paint before I absolutely just decide that's my standard operating procedure. But yeah, you're right. After that, I just like to work away, and the polish tells me where I've been, which is nice and helpful for me, and I wipe off at the end.
Now, when I was taking off the polish residue around that vent, I was very careful not to get any of the ceramic gloss on it. And the reason for that is we're gonna be going over those vents to take care of that, let's say, oops that the other detailer did.
Yep.
By using plastic restore and protect. The wiper arm though, I was able to save by polishing. Nick, by the look of these tires, I think they're gonna stay shiny for another 2 or 3 years.
There's something about these tires, they're caked on with some kind of product.
Right.
Now the rewarding part, Ivan, I get to wipe it off and join the Ceramic Gloss Club.
Exactly.
And what a club it is, Ivan. Have you even talked about your methodology here? You're spraying on the rinseless wash dampened towel wiped surface?
Yeah, it makes it very, very easy, A, to wipe off the polish, because that's what the rinse wash is doing. But secondly, we're leaving protection behind. So instead of using an all-in-one that isn't the best polish and isn't necessarily the best protection, now we're getting the great polishing, the gold standard, and the amazing protection of ceramic gloss. Just do a small section at a time before you want to hit it with ceramic gloss while it's still wet.
I guess I was trying to hit that perfect sweet spot of Mother Nature, Dry it a little bit for me, but you think it's better when it's actually more wet?
Well, it's not wet, your towel should be almost dry when you're done. Because if you let the rinses dry, then you have more risks and it takes you more time. Looking good, Nick?
Absolutely.
Last step in our process, we have the paint dialed in. These vents are still looking bad. We have plastic restore and protect for the trim. Now, normally we'd be going over a bumper or something like that. These are very small, intricate pieces. What I'm gonna be doing is I have a small scrap of microfiber. This is all I need. I'm just gonna be putting a drop or two on this small scrap. A little goes a very long way. More is definitely not better with this. Then I'm gonna start applying it. I'm gonna work my way around the edges first. You can immediately see what it's doing with the plastic. And I'm going to work it in here as deep as I can, but there's a lot of convoluted spaces there. And I'm gonna use a brush that we have, shall we say, tasked with this job. So I actually have a little too much on my little applicator here, and that's fine, because I'm gonna use that excess to work it in.
And how do you know if you have too much on your applicator, Ivan?
If the surface looks wet.
I would think you'd like that look. It would kind of give a richness to your plastics.
No, it's gonna cause high spots instead.
Okay.
This isn't a wax, it's a ceramic. So more is not better. And even with a wax, more is not better. And then I'll wipe off any excess that I could have put on the paint and on this little chrome piece here. Level as much as I can on the surface. And there you have it. That's the finished look versus what we had here. So a little agitation with the brush allows us to work it deeper into the surface and into those little cracks and crevices. I'll just add a little drop here to my applicator. Again, The less you use of this, the better it is.
Would you say Trim, Restore, and Protect is one of our most rewarding products to use?
It's a lot of fun because you get that instant gratification that we all enjoy, and at the same time, a long-lasting result. Because the Trim, Restore, and Protect is first and foremost a ceramic coating, but it has a black dye in it, and that black dye allows it to keep the surface looking good for a long time to come.
So what's your number one advice for Restore and Protect? Is just use less product than you're tempted to?
Yes. Don't give in to temptation. Just try to stretch it out as much as you can. It's not an inexpensive product. It's not that expensive, but still it has a cost to it. And the more you can do with it, the better it is for everyone.
Boy, this paint is starting to look amazing, Ivan. I know you're already done on your side, and I'm pretty dang close, and holy cow.
Yeah, big improvement.
Woo!
It's not perfect, but it's a lot better than it was. Nick, as I start this vent down here, I'm reminded that it's one of the rare cars we don't need to use tire dressing on.
What is on these tires, Ivan?
It feels and looks like grease. It's thick, like it's still greasy feeling, it's still oily feeling. It's a really weird product, whatever they put on there. Now the side vent doesn't have any holes in it. It's more of a fake vent. This one's for looks. Still working it in with the applicator as much as I can. And then I'll come back with the brush to work it into the very small, tight areas. And then finally level off any excess with another towel. Now, these are just little pieces of microfiber towel. We don't include an applicator with this because we actually want you to use an old microfiber towel. Use one that has no more lint to give. It's worn out. You wouldn't use it on anything else. It's clean though. But it could be stained. It could be just, you're tired of seeing that towel. Short nap works great. Then from there, I'll take my other towel, wipe around the edges just in case I got somewhere I shouldn't have gotten. That's a great thing about the Restore and Protect. Yes, it has a dye in it, but yes, in the first, 15, 20 minutes, it wipes off with ease. Now this is on black paint. We don't see much staining. So what I'm looking for is actually a dullness in the paint because it will impart sort of a dullness if it's sitting on the surface. And then go over it with a microfiber towel again, just to remove any excess. And there we have it. Nick, one thing we could do that would be a lot of fun.
What's that?
Is after we sign off, just show us some before and after pictures of different areas here.
Oh, that sounds fun.
Yeah.
I think we're gonna do that right now.